I'm Holly and welcome back to the Beyond the Property series on the Fine Country YouTube channel, where we get to know some of Britain's luxury estate agents with Fine Country. Now, they're selling some of the most expensive houses in the country, and today I'm meeting Greg Perrins, who operates in the Derby area. Now, I'm going to be asking him questions like, what's the most expensive house you've ever sold? And I want to know a day in the life of what he really gets up to as a luxury estate agent. We've got a couple of luxury properties to see in the area today, including one that has been professionally staged by a luxury property stager, Elaine Penhaul from Lemon and Lime. I can't wait to meet Elaine. I've got lots of questions to ask her to understand how you get a luxury property ready to sell. Greg's asked to meet me here at Morley Hall Golf Club. It's a beautiful day, so let's go and find him on the balcony. So Greg, thank you ever so much for having me here today to get to know a bit of the day in the life. We're here at Morley Hall Golf Club. Is this somewhere that you frequent often?
Every now and again I do meet clients here, so private clients. It's a nice neutral place. It's quite a nice place to come and sit and have a coffee and have a chat. Definitely.
Well, there's been maybe hundreds of deer that we've been spotting as we've been sitting here, haven't we?
Absolutely, I've been mesmerised now. My eye keeps drawing over to the deer to my right hand side.
Lovely countryside location. So are a lot of the properties that you sell around here in a similar countryside setting?
So predominantly one of my main strongholds is actually DE7, which is Morley and Smalley. So a lot of the upper quartile houses that I sell are within probably a 2-mile radius of Morley Hall Golf Course.
So how did you get into property? A lot of people fall into it. Some people have a love of it from a young age. What was the story for you?
Back in 2006, I moved out to Dubai to work for the Dubai government, working on a lot of their real estate projects. I was out there for 11 years, predominantly in private equity and working for the master developer. I did my MBA. My dissertation was actually on luxury property consumption. So when we relocated back to the UK, I think in 2017, I took a year out of work, and then the licence for Fine Country Derbyshire came up. I've always had a passion for property. Back in 2014, we actually bought our property through Fine Country, so I was aware of the brand, and it just felt like a natural fit. Initially, it was going to be for 1 year until I worked out what I wanted to do. And I think I'm in my 8th year now.
Amazing. So I want to know a little bit about some of your most interesting sales, some of your most memorable and maybe most expensive sales. So for you, over the past 8 years, what's been your most memorable?
Probably the most memorable sale for me is a property that's probably only about half a mile just over in that direction there. On the day of the valuation, I had a private client in mind that I was working for, trying to find them their ideal home. And during that valuation, I said to the vendors that I've actually got a private client that would be perfectly suited for this property. She was very sceptical at the time, and she said, look, if you've got someone, bring them round. So I rang them up and said, look, I think I found the ideal property for you. Can you come round tomorrow? The vendor said, fine. So the next day came along. She got the dog ready, and she said, well, this is all of a waste of time, but at least the dog's getting a walk today. She had a figure in mind that she wanted for the property. The private client came round, said, yep, I love it. How much is it going to cost? I told him the price, and we agreed the deal. So the lady came back with the dog, asked how it went, and I said I'd sold it for the price that she asked. And it was actually, from memory, it was about £250,000 more than the other 3 agents in the area had quoted. So
wow.
Not only did we sell it the day after the valuation, but we achieved pretty much £250,000 more for the property sale. So that's probably the one that sticks in my mind the most.
Amazing. Well, I'm sure that she was very, very happy with that service. And that just goes to show kind of the difference in the markets you're operating in, where you can get that £250,000 difference to what other agents are kind of valuing at. Do you find that being part of the Fine Country brand helps you to create that difference?
Where we are with Fine and Country, with the presentation and the exposure that we have, we are operating in the upper quartile of the market. And I always use the saying, you know, a lot of the houses that I go to, people have got expensive cars on the driveway. And if you're looking to get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or an Aston Martin or a Bentley serviced or sold, you know, you take it to a specialist that deals in those particular types of vehicles. And it's exactly the same with a property. If you've got a property at 3-4 million, you don't really want to use a high street agent to sell that particular type of property.
Definitely, that's a really good analogy. Actually, I haven't heard that before, so I'll be pocketing that, using that next time. So how about your most expensive property? What's the most expensive one you've listed, or what's the most expensive one you've got on at the moment?
The most expensive property I've got on the market now, it's a discreet listing. The clients are very private, they don't want it all over the portals and social media, and that's about 3.5 million, which for Derbyshire is quite a high price. You know, for me, I particularly operate around 1 million all the way up to about 3.5 million. There's not really that many properties that you'll find on the market over 3.5 million.
So we've got two properties that we're going to go and see today. Can you tell me a little bit more about both of them?
Yep, so the two properties we're going to see today is Morley Hall, which is a large Victorian mid-1800s residence that sits in grounds of around 11 acres, and the second one is very different. It's ultra modern. It's an individual architect design property that's just under 10,000 square foot that sits in grounds of just under 1 acre.
It's a beautiful day, but it is getting quite cold, so I think if we finish our coffees inside and then head over to Morley Hall.
Yep, let's go and do it. So Holly, welcome to Morley Hall.
Thank you very much. A very grand introduction as well. I'm loving these massive doors and that view that we just came past at the driveway. Very impressive.
No, it's an absolutely stunning property. So it sits in around 11 acres. You've got a 2-bedroom coach house just in front of me here. As you say, you've got those fantastic views there, which you get from the principal suite, as well as the office at the back. Inside, you've got some really special rooms and features. So why don't you join me and we'll take a look around.
I can't wait, let's go inside.
Let's go.
Wow, this is very grand indeed.
Yeah, so this is the dining hall of the property, so it's very in keeping with the period. So what I like about the property is it amalgamates the old with the new. So you've got this very grand staircase. Also you have the original stained glass windows that are actually encapsulated, so they are double glazed, so it gives you a lot of energy efficiency to the property as well, which is quite rare for a property of this size.
Yeah, and it's double height as well, this entrance hall, so you get that extra grand impression. We've got, I noticed, a fireplace as well, so loads of traditional features.
No, absolutely. So just through there on our left hand side is something very special that I want to show you. So why don't we start in the kitchen and work our way around?
Good idea, let's go this way.
Let's go.
Well, this style of kitchen is probably the last kind of design that I expected when we saw that big original front door when we came in.
The kitchen itself, so this is an extension to the main house. It amalgamates, I think, the old with the new. So you've got the sash windows, you've got the shutters, but also you've got the integrated speakers, you've got a projector screen there, you've got a creative interiors kitchen, lots of high-end appliances, as you can see here. So you've got the Sub-Zero fridge freezer. So the home's really been built for modern family entertaining and living.
Yeah, it's been kind of brought back to the modern day. So I remember when we were at the Golf Club, you said this was it Victorian, 1800s?
Yeah, so the house is mid-1800s, and I think from memory the vendors purchased the property in 1999, so they've literally gone through the whole property. So it's had rewiring, plumbing, new roof, new windows, new kitchen. So it's an old property, but inside it's actually a brand new property essentially.
So you said this property is built for entertaining. What other rooms are there in this home?
So we've got the garden room, which is at the back of the property, which overlooks the formal gardens. In there you've got a hot tub, pool tables, you've got ovens, you've got a grill, a barbecue. So for the summer months, it's really a fantastic place to entertain friends and family.
So with a property like this that's got so many different features, so much to offer, where you're going to have a buyer who maybe is interested in the history and that modern entertaining feature, or maybe all the acreage as well, how do you find that perfect buyer? How does your marketing strategy differ for something like this?
So with a property like this, the first things we do is the 24-page bound brochure. We've got the page turners as well. We have the videos. So again, there's a lot of material that we can push out, not only to the wider audience, but also private clients that we have on our books. In addition to that, I believe we've got over 225 offices in the UK, 75 overseas. So we're not just local, we're regional, national and international. So we do cover the whole market.
And that's the benefit of being part of the Fine Country network, isn't it? That you don't just have access to your kind of book of contacts, you've got access to, like you say, 300 locations across the world, because your buyer really could come from anywhere with a property that's, what, almost £4 million? It really could be anyone, couldn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So we've got a very historic, very grand home here, and we're going on to something a little bit different next, aren't we? You said that it's more modern, was it?
Yeah, so we're going to go and see the Common next, which is a large individual architect design property, not too dissimilar in size. It sits in grounds of around 1 acre, and the property itself, I think you believe it's set over 4 floors. So I'm really excited to show you around that one.
And there's someone meeting us there, isn't there? We've got Elaine from Lemon & Lime, which is property staging. I know that she'll be waiting for us, but I do want to have a quick look outside before we go, because it looks fantastic and the weather's really welcoming me out. So shall we head outside, have a look, and then go off to the Common?
Let's do it.
Perfect. Well, as we drove down this road to get to this property, I noticed there's a lot of money down here. It's kind of like Millionaire's Row on this road, isn't it?
Yeah, so today we're on the Common, which is probably the most prestigious address in Derbyshire. You've also got Burley Lane to my right-hand side. So here we are outside the Common. So because the property wasn't furnished when we took on the property, so by inviting Elaine from Lemon & Lime Home Staging to come into the property, it helps people visualise how they would actually live and entertain in the property. Unfortunately, I've got to go and see a client in a minute, but I'll leave you in the capable hands of Elaine.
Amazing. I'm looking forward to meeting her, so I'll head inside, and thank you for having me. Great.
You're most welcome.
And I will see you
Take
really
care.
soon.
Bye-bye.
Well, thank you, Elaine, for giving me some of your time today so that I can learn a little bit more about luxury property staging. So you and your team have done a fantastic job of staging this property. I love the design, love the colours. It also feels very Lemon & Lime, so you've got your own kind of theme, haven't you? I can sometimes notice when it's been staged by you guys. I really love the design. So tell me what you did in this property specifically, because Greg mentioned that there was a different layout when this property first came to market.
Yes, so when we first saw this property, the layout was, it suited the family that had been living here, but when we walked in, we thought, a new family walking in is going to find it difficult to understand. So for example, we've got a beautiful dining room behind us here now. And when we first came, that had a pool table and a home gym in there. The bit that we're now sitting in had a dining table in here, and there was very little seating on this floor. There was a little bit the other side of that, the glass wall there, but not very much. And what we try and think about when we first see a property is, well, who's going to buy this property? So that really is the key question. Who's going to buy this property? There are great schools locally. It's clearly going to be a family market. It's a big house. And the first thing that we did in our design planning, if you like, was to make the whole of this floor living space.
Yeah, it's very seamless,
dining,
isn't it?
Seating, yeah, absolutely.
So we've got the sliding doors too there, but with that all open, like I said, this really is a seamless living, dining, sitting, kitchen area, especially with all the windows as well. It feels really open. And we've got a very good day today, haven't we, for this property? Yeah. The light is just flooding in.
It's beautiful. And you can just imagine, I get really excited looking at all of this, thinking about the great parties you could have here.
Oh, yeah.
Just fantastic entertaining space.
Yeah, really. So you mentioned that there was a pool table in that room. So yes. Have you kept a pool table area? Is there a games room in this property?
So yes, so there were rooms downstairs that really lent themselves to being the leisure suite, if you like. So cinema room, gym, pool table, and there's also, and you may have seen it, the fabulous wine rack down there.
Yes,
really
I've seen photos, so I'm going to head downstairs, I think, at some point and have a look at all that. That definitely interests me. And I guess that's the difference, isn't it, between normal property staging and luxury property staging like this. You have to think about the cinema rooms, the gyms, and all of those reception rooms, don't you?
Yes, absolutely, because most of the properties that we see at the premium end of the market are properties that have all of those additional spaces. So we have to carry in stock gym equipment, pool tables, table tennis tables, we have cinema seating, all of those things.
Wow. So one of my questions that I had, well, I've got lots of questions because I'm so interested in the whole design process that you go through. But one of the questions that I had that I know a lot of people watching will be wondering as well is, what's the difference between interior design and property staging? Because there is a distinct difference, isn't there?
A really distinct difference. They're almost opposite ends of a spectrum. So both of them are about making beautiful interiors. Staging, though, is specifically about property marketing. That's the purpose of it. So our purpose in doing a beautiful design for an interior is that it's designed for whoever we think the buyer demographic's going to be, deliberately to attract them, to help them really fall in love with the space, to understand the flow of a space, because big properties, luxury homes, often the flow is quite difficult to understand if somebody's moving from something that's perhaps a little bit smaller. So we're purely about property marketing. Interior design might be something, a service that the people need once they've moved in, because that's very much done for the taste of the family that are living in the space, not the family that are moving out.
So I haven't seen the whole property yet. I've had glimpses of the property. I would imagine the dining room is going to be my favourite space. What is your favourite space in this home?
The dining room, without any question.
It's got a big mirrored wall. It just, just
and
it's perfect.
It clearly wasn't created as a dining room, which I think is interesting. But that mirrored wall has added another dimension to that, almost literally. And the photos, when the photos were done on this property, and they came back, I'm like, oh, I've really fallen in love with that house. You know?
Yeah, no, it's perfect for that space. Even I like the fact that it's a circular dining table in a very square room. It really mixes up those dynamics, and with the access out to the swimming pool as well, much like the rest of this downstairs, it's really, really
the
special.
whole of this level just opens up onto there. It's just fabulous. I would love to see it in the middle of the summer with all the doors wide open.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So when you are working on a property, what is one of your favourite kind of statement pieces that you always try to include, try to sneak in on your staging?
One of the things that I love to get in where we can is a grand piano.
You can't sneak a grand piano
in, can you? You can't sneak a grand piano, no. The removal guys are not that keen on it. Interestingly, we bought it specifically for one project that had a huge room, and we're going, oh my goodness, how are we going to fill that space? And we managed to find this grand piano and shipped it in there, and it looked amazing. And I thought, well, we're never ever going to use it again, but we can sell it afterwards. And that grand piano has barely ever hit the floor in the warehouse. It just comes in and goes out. We've now got 4 because we use them so often. And they really are great pieces in a big property, in a property where they've got a music room or a room that the family are going to use as a chill room. really.
Yeah, it
So-
definitely exudes luxury, doesn't
Yeah.
it? It kind of, so if you're walking into a property and you see a grand piano, I think that you associate that with luxury, don't you?
do, very quickly.
And-
It's really interesting.
And so does the staging end on the inside, or do you do the outside of the properties as well?
Yes, so normally where there are beautiful terrace areas, for example, outside, then we'll push out garden furniture. A lot of that gets taken in at this time of year,
Yeah.
at winter time. But we'll always do that. We do landscaping if that's necessary as well. So the whole place looks just really absolutely spot on before it goes onto the market. We have had a couple of properties where one on the river and one on a lake, where we've provided small boats because they've got water access as well.
Interesting.
So that's quite fun.
Yeah, and it really is a beginning to end service then. So it doesn't just stop at, like you say, bringing a removal guy in to just drop some sofas off. Your people come in, don't they? And they will scatter the cushions perfectly, and we'll have to make sure that we put these back exactly as they were. You have people come in, would they do like little tiny paint touch-up jobs if it was needed?
Oh gosh, we'll do everything.
Yeah.
So will do paint touch-up jobs, but we'll also completely repaint the property if that's what it takes to achieve the sale. So we do recarpeting, reflooring. We re-rendered the outside of a water tower that was coming onto the market one year. We've relaid drives, everything. So it really is, the staging really is about property marketing, everything to get the very best sale for that property.
Perfect. Well, that's the difference, isn't it, with luxury marketing, with Fine Country Homes and Lemon and Lime staging.
It really is.
Thank you, Elaine, for speaking to me today, for telling me more about what luxury property staging entails. I've really enjoyed getting to know a little bit more, but there's so much of this property to see. I think I'm going to head upstairs, have a look, and maybe end on that terrace.
It's been really lovely to see you. Thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
And enjoy your tour.
Thank you. It's been another fantastic day here in Derby, filming another episode of Beyond the Property. Now, we've got even more episodes for you to watch with other Fine and Country agents from around the UK. We've been finding out what it is like to list some of Britain's most expensive houses. We've also been meeting some of the sellers who live in these luxury homes. So make sure you go back, subscribe to the Fine and Country YouTube channel, and I will see you next time.